What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be doing a 7-round Arizona Cardinals mock draft. So if you guys are new, feel free to stick around, like, comment, subscribe, especially if you like draft content, because I do it almost every single day. So let's hop right into this. No need to have a little bit of shenanigans with a nice intro. First off, you guys know, if you guys are not new, how this rolls. I like to roll through the roster first so that we're all on the same page, and then go through the free agents that we have, and then we can go into the draft. I will be redoing this after free agency as well, because then we're going to be bringing on a lot of co-hosts and guests. So definitely stay tuned for that, because we're getting a good lineup. Starting off with the quarterback, Kyler Murray. Obviously, he's probably going to be out part of the year, but you guys signed him to a massive contract extension. He is worth it, in my opinion. I hope his attitude changes as he matures, as he becomes more of a leader. And then I think if they continue to have unsuccessful seasons, it will kick in eventually. So just give the guy some time. He's been a superstar talent. It's very hard for him probably to process losing at this point. So I think that maturation will definitely kick in once he kind of gets that focus and gets that kind of kick in the ass. Backups, though, not that big of a fan. Colt McCoy is just literally the definition of a great mentor. I just don't really want him being my primary backup, but Trace McSorley, in my opinion, not too shabby. Wide receiver wise, and well, we'll look at running backs first. James Conner, Keontae Ingram. I like Keontae Ingram. I think he's a little bit closer to James Conner than what I would like. I'd like a little bit of differentiation, so maybe getting a speed back later on wouldn't be too bad. Wide receiver wise, though, DeAndre Hopkins in trade rumors at the moment, but until that happens, we're going to assume he stays. Yes, that means usually that somebody at least is a little bit unhappy with the situation, but it doesn't mean anything's for sure. Robbie Anderson was absolutely useless. Marquise, you pretty much sent a first-round pick for, so you do have weapons here. Rondale Moore. Sucks to see that Andrew Isabella. I'm forgetting his first name. I don't know why. Andy Isabella. He is no longer with the team. That sucks, but it is what it is. He had some good moments in there, but just never lived up to what the hype should have been. But you do have a really solid receiving core. If DeAndre Hopkins decides to leave, would definitely consider looking elsewhere for another quarterback. Tight end wise, you got pretty much the great veteran and then an amazing understudy. I don't see much of a need to address tight end in the draft unless it's late. And apart from Josh Wiley, I don't really like many of these late round dudes. Maybe Leonard Taylor would be fun. Tackle-wise, Josh Jones is a really nice guy to have on your roster. I love him. Pretty sure Kelvin Beacham's one of our free agents, so we'll definitely check that out in just a second. But DJ Humphries here for the long haul as well. I hope Josh Jones can take a step up and be a true starting tackle, because I was a very big fan of him. Guard-wise, we're looking pretty thin here. Marquise Hayes, who was, I believe, a late-round draft pick, same thing as Lacecia Smith. Both of them, in my opinion, not worth starting. If I'm not mistaken, Rodney Hudson, I thought I saw him on the free agents tracker, but he's also contemplating retirement. Probably a good thing to address the interior of the offensive line. And for this mock draft, we're not going to be doing trades. I'll talk about that in a second as to why. But defensive interior, we're building up defensive line out. Leki Fotu, I don't think defensive interior is as bad as, we'd probably, as I tend to lean. JJ Watt's retired. I don't know why SpotTrack.com, which is the most reliable roster, doesn't put that on there, but maybe they're putting it on there for the guarantees. JJ Watt's no longer with them. Cam Thomas, Myles Sanders, both drafted last year. I love them both. Cam Thomas, to me, can step up into that JJ Watt role. Similar size. Not exactly. He slimmed down a little bit for the combine, but definitely has played at around that 270, 280 mark. And then Myles Sanders, when he gets his gears going, I think he's actually a really damn good player. So I would give him a little bit of time if you guys have not seen enough from him yet. But besides that, we're really thin here on that pure defensive end group. Looking at those outside linebackers that can also work as pass rushers, Marcus Golden, a solid veteran, but again, you look at the price tag, you look at the age, not exactly who you're going to want to keep around for the long haul. Victor Dimukeje, he's actually a really good player. I like Victor. I think he's from Duke, so got to give him a little bit of credit where credit is due. But this outside linebacker group definitely could use just that extra little oomph there. Other linebackers, Isaiah Simmons, he's coming up for an extension slash 5th year slash, God only knows what the hell is going to happen. He just hasn't been used to his maximum capacity, and I hope for his sake that either someone comes in. Sucks that you didn't end up getting Brian Flores, but I hope someone comes in and actually knows how to use him properly. Zaven Collins was one of my dudes in the draft that he was brought in. This was one of the teams where I was just not that excited for him to go to. Jesse Luketa, I mean, that's interesting that he got put to the practice squad. That just sucks because very good athlete, very high upside pass rusher as well to help out those dudes like Marcus Golden, Victor DiMcKJ. Looking at the safeties, I want to make sure there's no strong safety in here. You got Buddha and Jalen. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't really see much of an issue there. Maybe we can get some depth later on, but not exactly the deepest class of safety, even though it got better. This is a big issue I have. Corners are number one who is left on contract is Marco Wilson. This is like kind of like DEFCON 1 alert. Like, this is bad, like really bad. And pretty sure you guys ended up trading for one of the Raiders corners, Trevon Mullen, and ended up cutting him midseason. So that is not too great. But I'll recenter this by position. Looking at the other players that we do have up, Trace McSorley is up for a contract, so I don't know why they included him in the contracts. But, Greg Dortch, of note, Greg Dortch, definitely somebody who had some pretty big plays there. I hope they bring him back for a cheap contract at least. Max Williams is just a super consistent dude. I like him. Besides that, Andy Lee, I mean, I'm not going to talk about special teams here. That's not my speciality. Kamu Grugier-Hill, probably totally butchered the hell out of that. But Kamu, I'm pretty sure he used to play for the Eagles. Just a solid depth piece. Not really necessarily worth taking him in a very deep edge and outside linebacker class. Not outside linebacker, but outside linebacker edge class. Beachum probably will just be brought back for a cheap deal. I think that, he's at this point kind of fringe starter, just getting older. Not really the most reliable guy in the world. Other guys of note, Justin Pugh, man, like Cody Ford. I mean, I would definitely try to bring back one of these guards, Cody Ford or Will Hernandez. Billy Price, I swear to God, he should never touch a football again. I don't think that's up for debate. Zach Allen, it's a surprise that he's a UFA and he was not re-signed already. I think that he is still very solid, could fill in where that vacancy is going to be with either where Cam Thomas was or where JJ Watt was. So I hope they bring him back, especially if his market value is pretty low. But besides that, again, Rodney Hudson, Josh Jackson, it's not looking good. Byron Murphy's up for a contract. There we go. That was the guy who I was missing. I was like, wait a second. Byron Murphy better get a freaking contract. There's no way in hell he should not. So if he does not, that is an absolute travesty. So we'll go right into the mock draft now. It's obviously auto-generated because that creates enough of variability so that we get to have a little bit of fun, get to have that randomization aspect. But Bears went Will Anderson number 1. Will Levis ended up being that number 2 overall pick. So very intriguing. Very, very, very intriguing. I would say, of course, if you're getting good deals at the spot, you have 2 top quarterbacks on the board, Bryce Young and CJ. If you are getting elite deals, like let's just say from the Raiders, let's just say from the Carolina Panthers, I would be definitely listening. I would listen to the number 11 pick. If you see the Titans being like, dude, we will send you 4 first-round picks. We do not care. I'd be listening because I think getting that boundary corner, I think getting that defensive interior, there's a lot of value you can get at pick number 11, and you can trade up a little bit back into the top 10 as well. But for these mock drafts, I do not do trades because, one, they don't offer the trade. It wouldn't really make sense. I thought about adding in a potential 1 trade per, but every single time I redo this, there's going to be a different trade value. So it just doesn't make very much sense because I could just restart this and maybe get a better deal if I were going on that note. But I'm going to just address the biggest need, in my opinion, that's matched with the biggest value. And for me, that is going to be addressing that interior defensive line position with the highest upside player in the draft, and Jalen Carter. Obviously, if you end up getting those offers, move down, but we did not. Pick number 34. So looking at the guys who are available, you could end up still just going defensive line. I don't think that's a bad move, but I'm looking at guys like Darnell Wright here, and I'm like thinking, why would I want to keep Kelvin Beachum when I can go Darnell Wright? Looking at other offensive linemen of note, Cody Mock could be a very, very solid guard for us. I just think that when you have the potential value of a star right tackle, I think you take it. And he has time to develop as well, since Kyler probably will not be playing the whole time. So for me, I think that's your best investment. Very athletic, above 330 pounds as well. He is of that Steelers mold, which, if you do bring back Kelvin Beachum, is a very good asset. And tackles are expensive as hell. For me, I think that's just the best way to go about the pick. If I see Darnell Wright, who is my tackle number 1 on the board, I'm going to take him. Scrolling down a little bit so you guys get to see a little bit more of the board. They're testing me. They're testing me with some Isaiah McGuire here, who was my former number 2 player in the draft, as you guys get to see, number 31, after a very poor Senior Bowl performance. Should be dropped more, but it's kind of hard to go from 2 to, like 50. So we're mitigating that at the moment. Other positions I really want to go after corner. Like, looking at the guys available, Jalen Jones, he doesn't exactly fit what I am looking for. Tyreek Stevenson is. He's going to be that guy who does run in probably the higher 4.4s. He has a lot of strength to him at 212 pounds at 6 foot. You saw how he played in the Senior Bowl. He is aggressive. He's exactly the boundary corner I am dreaming of. So far, a very solid draft, if I can say so myself. It just depends on how the board falls. And my goody goodness, we have, that sounded so cheesy. We have our dream pick of interior offensive line here. I don't care who else is on the board. Andrew Voorhees, Luke Whippler, and Steve Avila, but screw Steve Avila. We're down to Whippler and Voorhees. Both of them, phenomenal. But I want to get the young, athletic center. I might want to go Voorhees, but to me, it doesn't matter. I'd rather go a center that I can move to guard than the opposite way. Devon Achane is still here. I am heavily considering him. Can you imagine the speed in this backfield? And he's such a good complement to James Conner. Could totally see that working. I want to check out a couple other positions, not tight end. And also PFF needs to update their board. Looking at some other wide receivers, if you do end up trading D-Hop, Xavier Hutchinson is a very solid, reliable target on the boundary. Would not mind him at all. Obviously, you guys know my love for Justin Shorter. Puka Nacua is a really good depth option. Well, we might get him in this one. But looking at other players, and it sucks that they don't, like, I know that you guys have been asking for using NFL mock draft database so that we can track it easier. That is a very valid request of yours, and, I understand. I understand, because I don't always want to be scrolling back like this. Obviously, I already know that, we've gotten DB, we've gotten defensive interior, right tackle, and now center. So edge rusher still is a position I want to look at. Every time I do this, I always regret waiting on edge rusher. But looking at MJ Anderson, that's my dude down the board. And I really want to see somebody take a big step up like Myles Sanders, who I had very, very high grade on. Running back to me is the right move here. You're seeing some amazing talent here, and they're going to be going soon. Devon Achane, to me, you guys get to see, he's my number 39 player in the draft, and I'll scroll down a little bit more. Just to me, so incredible at that 4.24 tested speed. Just going to be a new game changer for you. I think he should be arguably a first-round pick. Kind of rude that he's not, but, we're the ones who get the profit. Julius Brents is the guy who I'm very excited about at this pick from what I have seen. Other guys to note, Darius Rush is not a bad depth piece. I just saw most of the routes where he was dominant on. It was really the wide receiver that was messing up rather than him taking that massive leap to being a true superstar. And that's okay. Not every player is going to be great. To me, Julius Brents is the best value, by a long shot. But I really want to see the other options here, because I know that probably every draft I'll do, he'll be very, very likely the pick that I want to do. Other players actually of note, Servassier Dennis is really awesome. I like Servassier Dennis. Really good player, really fun to watch. He was a good Senior Bowl standout. Tight end, you could get depth here. Again, I told you guys I'd rather like go Josh Wiley over any of these guys, and I don't want to do that a billion times. Leonard Taylor's my target down the board. Wide receiver wise, again, I talked about Puka Nacua. I might want to grab him here just again to change things up a little bit. And I got to show Puka a little bit of love. We're going to go Puka Nacua here at the end of round 5. Again, just he's not going to be going that high, but I want to show him that love. He was very dominant in the first days at the Senior Bowl. If Julius Brents were still here, I'd take him in a heartbeat. I actually really like Cameron Mitchell. He was somebody who popped off to me as a potential first-round talent 2 years ago. Obviously, he's cooled off a little bit, but for me, when I see those flashes and I'm in the 6th round, I think it's worth it. Carrington Valentine would be a very nice backup player as well. He popped on to my stock up, stock down list multiple times, so got to give him a little bit of love as well, but wanted to grab a nice DB there for us. Pick number 210. I've heard some good things about this Carter Warren tackle out of Pitt. Like, I'm obviously, you guys can see, very heavy focused in the defensive line. Servassier Dennis is still here. Actually, I'm going to go and get some extra defensive interior depth. This doesn't sound very logical, but I really like Jared Clark. I really do. So for me, Jared Clark, he was a standout at the Senior Bowl. He is a big-ass dude, and he's awesome. He's really awesome to watch. He's kind of what people want Siaki Ika to be in terms of the value. Like, Siaki Ika, if he's taken in the 3rd round, I think is similar value to taking, what did I just trip up on the poor guy's name? Jared Clark here in the 6th. So with this pick, I was just talking about going after Servassier Dennis, 222, and this is the last pick in the draft. I think it's pretty nice to end off on a note that is like Servassier Dennis, but I do want to get that 3rd tight end in there who's really good. Braden Willis, actually. He's a really nice H-back. Both of these guys, Leonard Taylor, Braden Willis. I want to show a little bit of love to Braden here, though. He is known as one of the best in the whole entire country. So awesome to see that. That is going to be the draft. We'll see how well they grade my draft. But honestly, I've been a big fan of a lot of these picks. Most of these guys, I'm sure you guys have not heard of. I know Devon Achane is more of a household name, and Jalen Carter is. But, if you guys want to learn more, feel free to join the Discord and be able to hang out with me there. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe again. Would love to see you guys there. See you on the far side.